Good morning. Welcome to Morning Review. This is Kim speaking on Tuesday, the 10th of January. So, looking at the euro dollar first, and pretty much as expected, we've seen this sort of continuation to the upside. However, um, the daily 50 has been air kissed once again, and we've seen a bit of reaction. Now, when we pulled back to a hourly chart with the daily pivots on, and you can see it's run into the daily R2 already there and had some reaction to that through the Asian session. Now the question is, we'll find some support here. We have got potential support around this sort of level on this trend line, and there are other factors that are around about that level which may just hold it up. However, if it starts breaking down from there, we have got an untouched daily pivot below. The problem with trading towards that is the support that we get on the way. You can see the 21 moving averages sitting there. There's the exponential and simple. Both of them I put on my charts, particularly because they at some point, one or t'other, or quite often both, have an effect on the price. And then we've got the 50 and 34 just around where the pivot is. Now, if I was looking at a position on this, of course, it's against the intermediate trend as well. So got to be careful. And now it's not to say it won't come down there, hit that level, but it may be a choppy ride down. We didn't get all the way down to the weekly pivot yesterday. It's still untouched. Now, of course, we could change tact again and run all the way back down towards that. But as I say, the intermediate trend, okay, yes, we had a choppy old Friday, and yesterday started off quite choppy and looking like that was going to continue towards that weekly pivot level. However, and the S1 was down there, but it's not happening. And the very fact we are where we are at the moment, I'm almost erring towards the upside still on the euro, so it makes it more difficult. The pound, well, the pound to me is sitting around. I've put this sort of zone on here where we've got a support zone as opposed to a particular line. It could still come down to its monthly S1 area. There's some other lows that are sort of sitting around that sort of area, and it's certainly a possibility. It's consolidating on the shorter time frames around this level. In fact, there's no need to be sitting on there any longer. You can see it's consolidating around those zones. Actually, I do just want to have a look at the 4-hourly picture here as well. Often this gives us if it's coming down to double bottoms, you just need to look at. Sometimes you get divergence on here. They don't and because of the bigger time frame, don't always kick into play initially, but they do give us a bit of a picture. There's certainly the potential for this to come down towards that. Maybe a bit lower, but if it fails here, starts breaking up, pushes above the 4-hourly, the 240 moving average, well then I start getting a bit more bullish because it'll have put in a higher low, and we'll be running maybe up towards that 4-hourly 21. So there is the potential for it to get to push up a bit from here, but at the moment the markets are in a bit of a quandary in terms of what's being said by the UK government. Oops, dollar yen, big picture here. Still looking for the bearish side of this to continue through. It's played with the 34. It's run through the 34 this morning again, but we're seeing yet another bounce here. Probably not a major surprise. We're seeing the sort of bounces in this. I don't expect it to be a full and fast move back down to that daily 50, but I am still expecting it to move that way, certainly if it breaks the lows from Friday. Now, where we're sitting at the moment, 60-minute chart, you can see we are pushing up. We have got the daily pivot above us, so there is the potential for it to run up towards that at reasonable probability. But we've got this again, the 60-21 sitting there. And for me, I need to just wait and be patient here. If it hits the 60-21s and reacts to them, I may be looking for the short side. There's a secondary perhaps add in if you're looking for more of a bigger trade from this. If it starts moving to the downside here, or if it doesn't even get up to these levels, well, it may give us the initial entry for me. But otherwise, I've got to as I say, be a bit patient, see what it does around the 60-20s. If it starts breaking through, well, there's plenty of meat on the bone to run it back towards the daily pivot and go with on the short term. But the bigger picture, as I said in the video update I did for the weekly review, I'm still looking to the downside to a degree on the yen, dollar yen. Aussie dollar, well, it's again reacting. It's pulling back. Didn't quite yet make up to the daily 50, but again, the way it's been moving, I would expect that. Let's put the higher lows in on the 4 hours. You see a much clearer move here, but some would argue that it's possibly diverging into this higher level here, and it does tend to get up to a certain point and struggle. Now we again haven't touched the daily pivot. It's second test of these 21 moving averages. If it starts breaking down, well, it's not much of a move there. 30, so that's 53 down to 39, so it's about 14 pips there. Not very much on the downside, but there is that downside potential back to the 34 and daily pivot. Canadian dollar, again, really my preference on the Canadian dollar is to the downside at the moment with the consolidation we're seeing here, though. Well, perhaps it may want another a shove up here in this consolidated mode, but we were seeing it last week where it got consolidated over a few days and then off it went again. But we have still got the weekly pivot untouched above. Daily pivot, we're just all over that at the moment. If it can break through the 50, well, I've got to be a bit towards the bullish side on this, potentially providing the other markets are doing exactly the same thing. So if we push through the daily 60-minute 50, beg pardon, I'll be looking for the weekly pivot as potential targets. Certainly yesterday's highs, that is the R1 just above there, then there's yesterday's highs, and maybe that weekly pivot would be an option. So the downside is quite simple for me this morning. If it starts breaking this trend line, I'm much more keen to look towards the S1 and below to see if we can edge it down even further. So we've got well, really to the downside in terms of targets. We've got the prior lows there from last week, and Friday's lows there, and maybe even the monthly S1. Okay, that's it for me. Hope you have a good one. News-wise today, nothing of any significance now. We've got Canadian building permits out 1:30 and a JOLTS job opening in the US at 3 o'clock. Neither of those create any volatility generally in the market. Have a great one. Bye for now.